Hey everybody, welcome to the Cops Continuum. We got another video of police officers using excessive force. I think the force was excessive. I think the situation could have been handled a lot differently. Um, I wouldn't have taken these actions. I think the officers in trouble for this. Um, from what I have seen in the video, this video is the best video that I could find. It actually shows both officers' body cams side by side, so you can see what's going on the whole time. The guy is somewhat compliant in the beginning. He doesn't follow commands directly, but he does. He is compliant. Later on in the video, he becomes a little bit resistant, but I think for good reason. And we'll just jump into it and see how things escalate and how the situation could have been done differently and why I think that it got out of control. So when it starts, you're going to see three guys. It's the guy in the yellow. The guy in the yellow here is going to stick around. These two guys are going to get up and run.
Whoa, get out, get out. Whoa, what did I do? Stay down. Whoa,
those two guys take off running. This officer, pretty good. He grabbed this guy right away. He was sitting on this backpack, pushed him down, got control of him. The guy's like, well, what'd I do? I didn't do anything. Apparently the call was a call about trespassing. So probably these businesses in the background called about these guys sitting around this tree. Imagine it's hot. They're probably just sitting in the shade, chilling out. The people in the businesses probably didn't want them there. So they called and said these guys are trespassing. Apparently, too, someone said they had warrants. So, which people say stuff like that just to try and get the cops there a little bit more quickly. They'll say they have warrants, they have a gun, I saw a knife, something. They'll say something like that just so the cops will come more quickly. So cops show up. From what I understand, there's no indication of any weapons. So the guy's running. That's suspicious. Yeah, they probably had warrants. This guy, he either chooses not to run, or this officer was on him so fast he didn't have a chance to run. But the fact of the matter is, he's somewhat compliant here in the beginning, and we'll watch what happens.
Roll over on your face. Roll over on your stomach.
What did I do?
Over on your stomach.
What did I do, man?
Over on your stomach now.
Okay, bro.
So he's telling him to roll over on his stomach, roll over on his face. The guy's asking, what I do, what I do, what I do. While he's doing that, the female officer is on the radio. I don't know if she's given description of the guys and what direction they ran. I can't really make out what she's saying, but I would assume that that's what is going on. And this guy lays hands on, so he should have just stayed there and been the officer that controlled him. But for some reason, he moves off up here, and the other officer comes in.
Okay.
Roll over on your stomach.
Okay, bro, don't shoot me, man.
Get on your stomach.
What did I do?
Roll onto your stomach.
Am I gonna go?
On your stomach.
I didn't do anything.
So she puts her hand on the small of his back. She's going to reach down like she's going to get his arms. And there's something here that he's doing that indicates to me that he's been through this situation before. He's resisted before. He's got his arms tucked underneath his chest. That's a pretty typical position that guys take when they don't want you to handcuff them. So he's already in a posture that would indicate to me that he's going to resist being handcuffed. So, and we'll see what happens here. She starts to take control, and then she releases control, and at that point, he had a good chance to just jump up and run. But this officer, again, he's got his gun out. I don't know why. I don't think it's a situation where he needs his gun out right now. Some guys may disagree with me on that, but you don't know what he has in his waistband. You don't know what he's got underneath his chest. He may or may not have a gun. So that's probably why. But this officer had this gun out from the very beginning. So he had his gun out from the minute that he stepped out of the car. And here in a little bit too, we're going to see a magazine from a gun falls out somewhere. I don't know if it falls from her or it falls out of his gun, but there's a magazine that drops here apparently at some point. So he's got his arms underneath his chest.
Put your hands out in front of you.
Okay.
Put your hands out in front of you.
So he told me to put his hands out in front of him. He didn't do it right away. He moves forward, puts his hand on his head, which that's fine. Putting your hand on the guy's head, pushing his head down is a a good technique. Where the head goes, the body's going to follow. Again, the gun out. I can understand why he has it out. Possibly not knowing what this guy has, not knowing if the guy has a gun. You can't beat the drop. And when I say you can't beat the drop, that means that if someone has got the drop on you with the gun already out, you can't beat that. You can't react to that. If they're going to shoot you, they're going to shoot you. If this guy has a gun and he's already made the decision that he's going to try and shoot one of these cops, and this guy's gun is in his holster, he can't beat the drop. So I can understand why he may have it out for that purpose, but pointing it to the guy's head, pointing it to the back of his skull, that's a little extreme to me. I don't think there's a reason for that, especially if he's got his finger on the trigger. There's a possibility of an accidental discharge and shooting this guy in the back of the head, killing him. But I understand why he may have it out, if whatever his thinking process is, his threat process is. He may think the guys possibly have a gun. He doesn't want the guy to have a drop on him. That's maybe why he has the gun out. So I can understand that part of it. But I probably wouldn't have had my gun pointed at him. I may have had it out, had it pointed toward the ground, or had it up here by my chest, and like this the whole time, and trying to give commands and holding him down. So I'm comfortable with that. Let the other officer do the handcuffing, but we'll see that this officer has poor technique.
Stop, dude.
Hands all the way out.
I can't breathe, dude.
Hands all the way out in front of you.
Okay.
Straight out in front of you.
Okay.
All right, so he puts his arms out. He complies. He does what he's told.
You have a gun pointed
No,
straight
I
at your
don't. I
head.
don't have a.
Now, the officer says you have a gun pointed straight at your head. This guy heard you have a gun. So he's like, no, I don't have a gun. So he's thinking that the officers think that he has a gun. But this officer says that, I've got a gun pointed at your head, to let him know that he intends to shoot him, I guess.
Gun. Why am I going in cuffs?
Stop!
Why am I going in
So
cuffs?
she's trying to get his arm out, and she pulls his arm out.
No, I don't. I don't
She
have
doesn't.
to.
She doesn't really take control of it. She doesn't rotate it. I would have twisted it, stepped back, twisted it this direction, and walked back toward his butt. And then what I would have done is I would have sat on his butt and put this arm in the small of his back and got a cuff on it.
Bro, I don't have no warrant. You guys have the wrong guy. I don't have a warrant, bro.
So she's got a bad technique. So now he's starting to resist a little bit more. He's trying to roll over. He's trying to get up.
Bro, I don't have no fucking warrant, bro.
Get on your face.
Bro, I don't.
Get on
So-
your face.
She's yelling commands at him, telling him to get on his face. The guy is resisting. So now he starts to pistol whip him.
Okay.
Get on your
All right. Here's the magazine. Here and here. So I don't know if it came out of his gun. I don't know where the magazine came from. I will assume that he did, because when he started beating the guy, the guy's probably getting hit with the flashlight portion of the gun. When he's striking him with the gun, he probably hits the magazine release and dumps the magazine, and it falls out right over here. Once again, is the indication of this is not a trained technique. It's a poor decision for him to make. If the guy was resisting, he should have put his gun away. Maybe got his taser out. So he had, if he put his gun away, he had two hands to mess with this guy. But at this point, these officers are fighting each other for control of the suspect.
your face now.
Okay, bro.
Get on your face.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Get on your
You're
face.
tipping me.
On your face.
He's struck him several times already. The guy's got some lacerations on his head. You're going to see a big contusion and he hits him a couple more times, you're going to see a big contusion raise up on the, I think it's going to be the right side of his temple.
Roll over on your face.
You're killing me.
So, in this guy's defense, he's in a fight or flight mode. You know, he's been hit several times with the gun already. He's getting beat. He's in defensive mode now. He's putting his hands up. And we'll see here in a little bit, too. The officer says something about, don't touch my gun. I think at this point, this guy is in a fight or flight mode. He wants out of the situation. He's getting beat. He doesn't understand why. I think this is the point where this officer just crossed the line. Is using excessive force. So we'll continue to watch the video and we'll see how it progresses.
You're killing
your
me.
face.
You're killing.
So there he is. Keeps putting his hands up, in defensive positions. You see that a lot if you guys watch CSSI or whatever, when they talk about defensive wounds. If someone's trying to stab you, you're going to put your hands up. It's just a natural response. And, he's putting his hands up because he doesn't want to get hit again.
You're killing me. I don't
Get on your face.
I don't have a warrant, bro.
On your face.
I don't have a warrant.
Get over on your face.
Okay, dude. I just hit
On your face. On your face.
I don't have a warrant, bro.
Get on your
I
face.
don't have a warrant. I don't have no warrant.
Get
No.
on your face.
No.
So you can hear him. He's implying that he doesn't have a warrant. Keeps saying, I don't have a warrant. This is where it gets a little disturbing here. This guy's, he's a human being. He's pleading. Doesn't know why he's getting beat up. That's why I think this whole thing was escalated by the officers. I think it could have been handled differently. I wasn't there, obviously. I don't know what these guys' thought process is. I know what mine was. You can't always be diplomatic in a situation. Sometimes you got to go in there and just take control. But when the officers first pulled up, these guys didn't bolt. They bolted once the officers started to put their hands on them and gave them the impression that they were going to be arrested. I think that these guys did end up having warrants. I think the other two guys were probably caught by some other officers. But this situation here, I can't see why it had to go this direction. I think the male officer involved in this is the one that escalated everything.
I can't go to jail for something I didn't do.
Turn over.
No.
So this guy, he is resisting at this point. He's resisting because he's getting beat up. He's already been smashed in the face and in the head a couple of times. So he wants out of the situation. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. He's not complying. He wants out. He wants to be gone. And this whole situation has gone to the point of no return. The officers have to arrest him now. They have to get him under control. They can't just let him go. They can't pull back and stop what's already happened. They've passed the line on this.
You move, I will shoot you.
So now, he's got his hand on his neck, which
You move, I will shoot you.
George Floyd thing, man, it's choking him. You can hear the guy struggle to talk, struggle to breathe. The officer's telling him he's going to shoot him. I just don't know what to say. I think this whole this guy here, this officer here, has got everything way out of control.
Do it.
Do not move.
I didn't do anything. I didn't even run.
Don't move.
I didn't do anything. I didn't even run. Which may be the truth,
Stop fighting. Stop fighting.
I didn't even run.
Stop fighting.
He's got
Stop
a big
fighting.
contusion on his head right there. It's pretty nasty.
Marty.
Oh, he's got two big. Yeah, this is hard for some of you to watch, I'm sure, but.
Stop fighting now.
So he's telling him stop fighting. The guy wants out. He's fighting now. He's resisting now. He wants to go. He probably feels that if he's going to stay there, he's going to. And with the way the climate is with the police now, and the way the media portrays things, he's probably at the point where he thinks he's going to die. So he wants out of the situation, and I understand that. But it's just like I said, it's gone way too far now.
Don't shoot me.
Grab my gun again. I will shoot you.
Don't shoot me, bro.
Now he says, if you go for my gun again, I'll shoot you. He probably didn't go for the gun. He's probably trying to get the gun away from him. The gun's already been used to strike him in the head several times, so he doesn't want to get hit again. I think it was a defensive thing. I don't think that it was probably I want to take the gun away from you type thing. I think it was just a defensive move on the guy's part because he'd already been struck several times.
Ow, help! Help! Don't shoot me, dude. Just let me go. No, I don't.
So he makes it back up to his feet. You'll see the male officer grab him by the leg and take him back to the ground. So obviously this officer has enough physical strength to do that. So I would assume he would have enough physical strength to subdue the guy. But these cops are working against one another.
Don't hurt me.
Okay, at this point, a bunch of cops show up. There's more cops showing up. So there's more guys to help get this guy under control. I think at some point he is tased, which after that he complies.
Okay, okay.
Don't move.
Okay.
Don't move. Put your hands out. Hands out. You're going to get it again. You got it. Hands out.
So he says he's going to get it again. So apparently they either deployed the taser, which the barbs shoot out and then completes a current in the body and gives you shots throughout your body, or they do what's called a drive stun, where they just, you guys have seen where you pull the trigger and the electrical probes make that lightning strike between them. So they probably shoved that down into him and gave him a drive stun is my thoughts of what was done. And I've had that done on me in training. It's painful. You want to do what you're told when they use that. So I think that's probably what happened.
Okay. All right.
So he complies.
Okay.
Puts his arms out. This officer takes control of him like he should have. So he's rotating the arm, bringing it around, to his butt, so he can get cuffed. Which is what the other officer failed to do. She needs to go back to training. It was poor technique. I think if she would have had a better technique, that this situation might not have gone this far. But hey, hindsight's 20/20.
Other hand.
Let's say other hand. So they got this guy under control. These other officers show up, take control of the situation, handcuff the guy. So now they're going to have to, call the medics to come check the guy out, render him aid, get him some water like he's asking. I don't know what that is. Something fell out there, but I'm not sure what that was. So I think this guy's going to get paid. Not a good situation. But there at the end, officers show up, employ good handcuffing techniques, and we go all the way back to here to her and see in comparison where she did a poor job.
Hands all the way out in front of you.
Okay.
So he puts
Straight
her
out
arms
in front
out.
of you.
Okay.
She reaches down
You
to.
have a gun pointed
No,
straight
I
at your
don't. I
head.
don't have a gun.
She
Why am I
doesn't.
going in
But
cuffs?
she doesn't take
Why
control.
am I going in
Yeah,
cuffs?
so
No, I don't.
she's
I don't have
very
stop
poor
fighting.
technique here
Bro, I
compared
don't
to
have
the
no
other
warrant.
guys. So not only did this officer escalate things, by pointing a gun to his head in the very beginning, but then he escalates things where he punches him in the face, pistol whips him, with the gun. Now this guy's in survival mode. He may be resisting, but I think he's more in survival mode than anything else. What I think should have happened, officers showed up, the guys weren't going to run at first, ask them all for their IDs, tell them to put their hands where you can see them, where's your ID at? And the guy, this guy was sitting on a backpack. He may have said, my ID's in my backpack. So, I would have got it out for him. I would have said, hey, can I get it out? Can I take it out? I don't want you to reach in the bag, so we don't have any situation here. And just explain what you're doing to the people. Doesn't always work, but it does sometimes. Sometimes the way you act and the way you talk to people can either escalate or de-escalate a situation. But I think this officer used excessive force, took things too far, beat this guy, with his pistol, caused some serious lacerations to his head, big contusion. There's one here, and there's one here. You're hitting somebody, hitting people in some pretty vital spots here. So, that's my critique. I think it looks bad. That officer's going to have to explain why he did what he did. I think it's going to be hard to explain. He's not going to be able to justify it. There's a lot of other things that he could have done. Put his gun away, got out his taser, put his gun away, helped the other officer, to get more physical control over the guy. And now he also, exposed himself to this guy's blood. I've had plenty of guys' blood on me, and it's just you never know. You don't know what this person's health status is, and there are a lot of things that can infect you from someone else's blood. So, it's not a good situation all around. So, I hope you liked the video. Hope you liked my critique. If you're a cop and you hated it, go ahead and say so. If you liked it, like and subscribe. That's what helps me out. This is a fairly new channel. I don't do videos every day. We'll try and do a lot more. But if you see something and you want me to critique it, send me an email. Make a comment on this video, and we'll go from there. So, God bless, and have a good day.